Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're embarking on a truly fascinating exploration. We're looking into a concept that touches every single one of us, yet, means something uniquely different to everyone. We're asking the big question, what does success really mean? It's this idea, this concept that drives our ambitions, right? It shapes our dreams, and it profoundly influences the choices we make every single day. But what truly defines it for you? Is it really about climbing that corporate ladder, getting the big corner office, the hefty paycheck? Or maybe it's something different, like building a loving family, creating a cozy, nurturing home. Or could it even be the courage, just the sheer guts, to live authentically, aligning your life with your deepest, most cherished values? The answer is, they're as diverse as humanity itself.
That's it, exactly. This deep dive is entirely focused on cutting through all that noise, the societal expectations, the often conflicting messages we get bombarded with, to really examine the multifaceted nature of success. We'll be looking at it through a whole array of insightful lenses. Philosophical wisdom from way back, modern psychological understanding, diverse cultural viewpoints, how it's changed through history, and even digging into some compelling personal stories that show just how varied this whole journey can be.
Yeah, and our mission today really is to help you gain a richer, maybe more nuanced understanding of what success can mean. And maybe more importantly, how you can start to craft a definition that is uniquely your own, something tailor-made for your life. We've sifted through a really fascinating collection of material, ancient ideas, modern research to uncover the most insightful nuggets we could find. So, are you ready to unpack this truly universal yet deeply personal human quest? Let's jump in. Okay, so let's start with something fundamental. The observation that, the pursuit of success seems woven into the very fabric of human existence. From our earliest ancestors striving for basic survival, just trying to thrive, to modern entrepreneurs launching these groundbreaking ventures trying to change the world, there's always been this inherent powerful drive, this push to achieve something significant, to make a mark. But why? Why does it hold such profound allure for us? And why is its meaning so incredibly varied, shifting not just between individuals, but across entire civilizations in different eras?
It's fascinating, isn't it? What's particularly interesting here is that at its very core, success ties into our innate drive for progress. Evolutionary biology strongly suggests that humans are, inherently wired to improve their circumstances, to adapt, to grow, whether that's through ingenious innovation, powerful cooperation within a group, or, deeply personal growth and mastery. This impulse is just fundamental. Our ancestors, they needed to adapt rapidly to survive harsh, unpredictable environments, right? Find food, build shelter, protect their communities. And that same fundamental instinct, that almost primal urge to better one's situation, it still fuels our modern ambitions, whether it's climbing the corporate ladder, truly mastering a challenging craft, or fostering deeply meaningful, supportive relationships. It's part of being human, this relentless desire for betterment.
It's incredible how that deep-seated drive can manifest in such wildly different ways. So if it's not this monolithic concept, then what does that flexibility actually look like in the real world? We see such huge differences, don't we?
Absolutely. Huge differences. Consider the striking contrast. You've got a tech mogul over in Silicon Valley. For them, success might mean achieving a $1 billion IPO. That's a massive financial milestone, global recognition, very quantifiable, very outwardly visible achievement.
Right, something you can point to.
Exactly. But then think about a dedicated teacher in a small, maybe rural village, working quietly day after day. For them, success could be inspiring just one student to dream big, to pursue an education they never thought possible, or find their own unique path.
That's just as profound in its own way.
Totally. Both are perfectly valid, deeply meaningful visions of success, yet neither completely captures the other's unique path. And this inherent subjectivity, this deeply personal lens through which we define our aspirations, that's precisely what makes success such an endlessly compelling topic to explore. It's not just about achieving some predefined universal goals. It's about the deeply personal process of figuring out what those goals actually are for you in the first place, and what truly signifies fulfillment and purpose to you. It's a constant kind of evolving conversation we have with ourselves.
Okay, so to really understand this, to really dig into its deepest roots, we probably have to journey back, way back, to philosophy, right? Thinkers across centuries have grappled with these huge questions of meaning, purpose, achievement, offering these timeless frameworks that still feel incredibly relevant today, maybe even more so.
Definitely more so sometimes. Let's begin with Aristotle and the pursuit of Udemonia. This ancient Greek philosopher, particularly in his Nicomachean Ethics, introduced this concept, Udemonia. Now, it's often loosely translated as happiness, but that doesn't quite capture it. It's more accurately something like flourishing, human thriving, or simply living well. For Aristotle, success wasn't primarily about piling up external markers like vast wealth or fleeting fame or political power. No. Instead, it was fundamentally about living a life of virtue and fully actualizing one's unique human potential, reaching your highest self, you could say.
Living virtuously. What does that mean for him, practically?
Well, he believed every human has a telos. That's like a specific purpose or inherent function tied to their role in the world. So, for instance, a carpenter's true success isn't just making money, it lies in skillfully crafting well-made furniture. Showing technical skill, sure, but also integrity, dedication. A teacher's ultimate success, found in effectively educating and inspiring students, nurturing their intellectual and moral growth. A leader's success, guiding their community with wisdom, justice, integrity, ensuring the common good.
Okay, so it's about fulfilling your specific function well.
Exactly. And to achieve this state, this eudaimonia, Aristotle believed you had to live in accordance with reason and actively cultivate virtues. Things like courage, justice, temperance, generosity. This viewpoint, it really challenges a lot of modern ideas about success, doesn't it? Ideas that tend to prioritize external rewards and material gains above everything else. It pushes us back towards internal fulfillment, character development, and the profound satisfaction of living a virtuous life.
That's a powerful pivot. Moving from what's outside to what's inside, focusing on internal fulfillment and how you embody your purpose. It makes me wonder, though, if true success is internal, how did other ancient philosophies like Stoicism handle all the external stuff, the adversity? They had a very particular, almost radical view on controlling your inner world, didn't they?
Oh, they certainly did. The Stoics thinkers like Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, Epictetus, they took a really distinct, you could even say radical path. They argued that genuine success lies entirely in mastering one's inner life, cultivating a kind of mental fortress, really, regardless of what's happening externally. For them, things like wealth, social status, even your physical health, they called these indifference.
Indifference, meaning they didn't matter at all.
Not quite didn't matter, but more like they weren't essential for a good life or for true success. Nice to have maybe, but not the core of it. The real core for the Stoics was cultivating virtues. Wisdom, courage, self-discipline, justice. These were the only true goods, and crucially, they were completely within your control. Marcus Aurelius, Roman emperor, but also a deep Stoic thinker, he famously wrote in his Meditations. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength.
Wow, that hits hard, especially today.
Right. It's incredibly relevant in our often unpredictable world. Economic shifts, global crises, personal misfortunes, things can disrupt our plans so fast. A Stoic would aim to maintain calm and principle through it all, stay unswayed by triumph or tragedy, grounding their sense of success in their internal state and their virtuous actions, knowing that external events are ultimately beyond their direct command.
Can you give an example of that, how it plays out?
Sure. Imagine an entrepreneur. They pour everything into their startup, work incredibly hard, but unfortunately it fails. A Stoic viewpoint would suggest their success isn't actually determined by the business's financial outcome. That's an external indifferent. Rather, their success is defined by how they handle that setback. Do they learn from it, maintain their integrity and composure? Do they move forward with resilience, with purpose, despite the outer turmoil? It's their internal fortitude, their response, that defines their true success, not the external result.
Okay, so we've seen Western thought grappling with purpose, inner strength. But what happens when we shift our gaze eastward? Do Eastern philosophies offer a radically different perspective on what it means to strive and achieve? Maybe challenge our whole notion of it.
Oh, absolutely. Eastern philosophies offer a profoundly distinct lens, often emphasizing things like balance, harmony, and a kind of detachment from conventional desires and external outcomes. Take Buddhism, for instance. Success there is intricately tied to liberation from suffering that's seen as the fundamental human goal. The Buddha taught that excessive attachment to material things, social status, even the fleeting feeling of happiness ultimately leads to a cycle of dissatisfaction, suffering. So true success, in this view, involves cultivating deep mindfulness, profound compassion, letting go of those ego-driven desires and attachments, and living harmoniously with the present moment, accepting things as they are without constant craving or aversion.
That sounds incredibly different from the usual go-getter mentality.
It is. Think about Siddhartha Gautama himself. He famously abandoned his life as a prince, all the comfort, all the power to seek enlightenment. His ultimate success wasn't ruling a kingdom or gaining worldly power. It was achieving profound inner peace, transcending suffering, and then dedicating his life to helping others do the same. That contrasts so sharply with a common Western emphasis on external achievement. It's all about inner transformation, spiritual awakening.
And what about other Eastern traditions, like Taoism?
Taoism offers another fascinating angle. It centers on living in accordance with the Tao, understood as the natural flow, the underlying principle of the universe. Success, in this sense, isn't about aggressively striving for more or piling up external markers. It's more about embracing simplicity, balance, and what they call wu-wei, effortless action.
Effortless action, like doing nothing.
Not exactly doing nothing, more like acting in alignment with the natural flow of things, without forcing or struggling against the current. The Tao Te Ching, attributed to Lao Tzu, advises, when you are content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everyone will respect you. This idea suggests genuine success comes from aligning with life's natural rhythms, allowing things to unfold organically rather than forcing outcomes through sheer, exhausting effort. It's about finding peace by being in sync with the world.
Fascinating. Okay, bringing us into more recent times, what about philosophical ideas from the 20th century? Existentialism, for instance. That seems to throw a very unique challenge into the mix, almost forcing us to define success entirely for ourselves.
Exactly. Existentialist philosophers like Jean-Paul Sartre and Albert Camus introduced a truly profound and, for some, quite challenging idea. They argued that life has no inherent preordained meaning. It's not given to us. Therefore, each person is utterly responsible for creating their own meaning and purpose. Radical freedom, but also radical responsibility. Success, from this viewpoint, becomes this deeply personal, active process. It's about confronting that freedom, defining your unique purpose, and then living with absolute authenticity and commitment, even when you're faced with life's inherent absurdity or the lack of those easy, prepackaged answers.
Can you illustrate that? Camus' Sisyphus idea comes to mind.
Precisely. Camus' essay, The Myth of Sisyphus, is a powerful illustration. It explores the figure from Greek mythology condemned to eternally roll a huge boulder up a hill, only for it to roll back down every time he nears the top. Camus famously argues that Sisyphus can find meaning and therefore achieve a kind of success by fully embracing his task, by finding a profound joy, even defiance, in the struggle itself, in the act of the effort. This perspective speaks volumes to anyone facing repetitive or seemingly futile tasks in their own lives. It suggests true success lies not necessarily in the outcome, which might be beyond our control, but in how we approach our challenges. It's about the meaning we choose to inject into our experience, the attitude we bring to the struggle.
So across all these different philosophical traditions, what's the common takeaway, if there is one?
Well, despite their differences, a common, powerful thread consistently emerges. Success isn't just about what you ultimately achieve externally. It's profoundly about how you live your life, how you engage with it, what internal qualities you cultivate, whether it's Aristotle's flourishing through virtue, the Stoics' unshakable inner strength, Buddhism's liberating detachment, or existentialism's call to self-creation. These ideas consistently encourage us to look beyond just the external markers and metrics, to focus instead on finding deep meaning, purpose, and integrity in our existence.
All right, shifting gears a bit now, moving from those grand philosophies to the intricate workings of our own minds. Psychology offers a really complementary view, doesn't it? It sheds light on why we pursue success, how we measure it, and crucially, what actually makes it feel fulfilling in the long run. Modern research gives us some really practical insights here.
Absolutely. And a foundational concept in psychology here is the distinction between intrinsic versus extrinsic motivation. Intrinsic motivation, that comes from within. It's the pure internal drive to do something simply because it's inherently rewarding to you. Think of a musician playing just for the sheer joy of creating music. The act itself is the reward.
Right, doing it for the love of it.
Exactly. Extrinsic motivation, on the other hand, is driven by external rewards, things like money, fame, social approval, or maybe avoiding punishment. A salesperson chasing a commission, for instance. They're primarily motivated by that bonus check, that external factor.
So which one is better for success?
Well, both can definitely lead to achievement, no doubt. But research strongly suggests that intrinsic motivation is far more sustainable and typically leads to significantly greater fulfillment. There was a study back in 2014, I think, that found people pursuing goals for intrinsic reasons because the goals aligned with their values or brought them personal satisfaction. They felt more fulfilled and showed greater persistence than those driven mainly by external rewards. Because intrinsic goals, they're self-reinforcing. They provide that sense of purpose even when the external outcomes are uncertain or slow to arrive. That internal fire keeps you going.
Makes sense. You can see that play out. Like with creatives, maybe.
Yeah, consider two writers. One writes solely to become a bestseller, fame, money. That's the driver, extrinsic. The other writes primarily to express their creativity, explore ideas they care about, intrinsic. The second writer is much more likely to push through the inevitable rejections, the writer's block, all the setbacks, because their motivation comes from the satisfying act of writing itself, not just the potential outcome. It's the process that fuels them.
That makes complete sense. We've probably all felt that internal drive, feeling more sustainable, more satisfying. It's what keeps you going when things get tough. But what about mindset? How does our mindset influence our journey toward success, especially when we hit those inevitable bumps in the road?
Mindset. That brings us to Carol Dweck's work on the growth mindset. This is another absolutely key element. She describes two distinct mindsets. People with a growth mindset genuinely believe their abilities, their intelligence can be developed through effort, learning, dedication. They see intelligence as something malleable, like a muscle. In contrast, those with a fixed mindset believe talents and intelligence are static, inherent traits. You've either got it or you don't, basically.
And how does that affect success?
Well, a growth mindset fosters incredible resilience. It encourages people to view challenges, setbacks, even failures, not as threats to their identity or proof of their limits, but as valuable opportunities for development, for learning. It completely reframes difficulty.
Like turning obstacles into stepping stones.
Precisely. Imagine two students facing a really tough exam. The fixed mindset student fears failure intensely, thinking a bad grade proves they're just not smart enough. The growth mindset student, however, sees the exam as a chance to learn, to see what they need to work on, even if they don't ace it. They focus on the effort and the learning process. Dweck's research consistently shows that people with a growth mindset persevere more, they actively seek feedback, they learn from mistakes, and ultimately they achieve more in the long run. And this applies everywhere, not just school. A manager with a growth mindset sees a mistake as a chance to improve processes. A fixed mindset manager might just try to deflect blame. Cultivating this mindset really transforms how we approach success. It makes it less about reaching some mythical state of perfection and much more about the continuous process of progress and learning.
Okay, so it's about the journey, the learning, not just the final destination. And that leads perfectly to another psychological idea. The one that suggests even when we do get what we think we want, that big goal, it doesn't always bring lasting happiness. Why is that? Is there some kind of psychological trap we fall into?
Yes, that brings us to the Hedonic Treadmill. It's a really intriguing psychological finding. The basic idea is that humans tend to quickly adapt to positive changes in their lives. We get a raise, buy a new car, achieve a goal, and yeah, there's a boost in happiness, but then we fairly quickly return to our baseline level of happiness. We adapt.
Like the thrill wears off.
Exactly. There's a famous study back in the 70s that looked at lottery winners and accident victims. Despite these hugely different life-altering events, both groups tended to return to their pre-event happiness levels within about a year. The massive win or the terrible loss, people adapted.
Wow, so chasing external markers might be futile.
Well, it suggests that relentlessly chasing those external markers, immense wealth, high status, the next big thing, might not lead to the enduring fulfillment we expect. We just keep moving the goalposts on the treadmill. Instead, psychologists like Martin Seligman, a key figure in positive psychology, argue that true, sustainable success is fundamentally linked to things like meaning and genuine engagement with life. Seligman's PERMA model is really useful here. It outlines 5 crucial components for well-being: positive emotions, engagement, getting lost in activities, that flow state, relationships, strong social connections, meaning, purpose beyond oneself, and accomplishment, achieving goals that hold personal significance.
So it's a more holistic picture.
Definitely. A genuinely successful life, according to this view, isn't just about feeling good. It involves finding purpose, building strong connections, and achieving goals that truly matter to you, not just chasing external fleeting highs. Think about it. A corporate lawyer might earn a huge salary, but feel deeply unfulfilled if their work lacks meaning or connection to their values. They're on the treadmill. Conversely, someone volunteering at a community center, maybe earning nothing, might feel profoundly successful because their efforts directly align with their values of service, hitting multiple PERMA elements. The PERMA model urges us to define success holistically, balancing tangible achievements with that overall sense of well-being, purpose, and connection.
That's a really powerful framework for self-assessment, thinking beyond just the resume to what actually nourishes your spirit. Are there other psychological frameworks that highlight maybe even more fundamental human needs that play into success?
Absolutely. Self-determination theory, or SDT, developed by Edward Deci and Richard Ryan, is another extremely influential framework. It's all about what drives human motivation and well-being at a really deep level. SDT posits that humans have three basic innate psychological needs. When these needs are satisfied, it leads to optimal functioning, personal growth, and a profound sense of success.
Okay, what are these three needs?
First is autonomy. This is the feeling of having control over your own life and decisions. The sense that your actions are self-chosen, self-endorsed, not just forced on you by external pressures. Second is competence. This is the sense of mastery over skills and tasks, feeling effective, capable, and like you're continually growing in your abilities. And third is relatedness. This is our inherent need for connection and belonging with others, feeling cared for, caring for others, feeling part of a meaningful community or group.
Autonomy, competence, relatedness, ACR. Okay.
Exactly. And from SDT's perspective, success isn't just about external rewards. It crucially involves meeting these three fundamental needs in a balanced, integrated way. For example, a freelancer might feel incredibly successful because they have high autonomy over their schedule and projects, even if their income isn't huge compared to a corporate job. They're meeting that autonomy need. A dedicated teacher might derive deep success from mastering their craft competence and seeing their students thrive, building strong connections, relatedness. SDT really highlights that chasing external rewards, especially if it means sacrificing these fundamental needs like taking a high-paying job that offers no autonomy or crushes your relationships, can lead straight to burnout or deep dissatisfaction. It reinforces how crucial it is to align our definitions of success with our intrinsic drivers, our values, and these core psychological needs. It's about being truly self-determined.
Right. It all seems to circle back to understanding yourself and what truly drives you beyond just the surface level stuff. Okay, so philosophy and psychology give us these maybe universal insights into our inner workings. But then you step outside your own bubble, maybe travel a bit, and suddenly everything you thought about making it gets turned on its head. It really makes you realize just how monumentally culture shapes our very understanding of success, doesn't it? What's considered top-tier successful in one society might be completely irrelevant or even looked down upon in another.
Oh, absolutely. It's a huge factor. Let's start with Western individualism, which is really prominent in places like the US, Canada, much of Europe. Here, success is often intrinsically and very strongly linked to individual achievement. Personal accomplishments, self-reliance, standing out from the crowd. The classic American dream captures this perfectly, right? The belief that anyone can achieve immense wealth, high status, personal fulfillment through sheer hard work, determination, individual ingenuity, regardless of where they started.
The pull yourself up by your bootstraps idea.
Exactly. And this narrative celebrates those self-made individuals. Think Elon Musk, think Beyonce, people seen as rising from humble beginnings to global prominence through their own drive and talent. Now, this focus definitely encourages ambition, innovation, personal initiative. That's the upside. But it also carries significant downsides. The intense societal pressure to make it as an individual, often at any cost, can lead to profound stress, anxiety, widespread burnout. I remember seeing a survey, I think from the APA a few years back, finding something like 60% of Americans felt stressed about achieving their version of success, citing financial pressures and career demands. And moreover, this individualistic focus can sometimes overlook the vital role of community support, collective effort, collaboration. The CEO gets celebrated, but the contributions of the whole team, often less visible. It creates a pretty narrow view of success sometimes.
Yeah, that's a definite double-edged sword. Intense drive, but also intense pressure, and maybe overlooking the collective. So how do collectivist cultures contrast with this? What does success look like through their lens?
It's a stark contrast. In collectivist cultures, common in many parts of Asia, Africa, Latin America, the priority fundamentally shifts. It's about group harmony and collective well-being over individual achievement. In Japan, for instance, success is often tied to contributing meaningfully to the collective, whether that's your family, your workplace team, the wider community. There's this concept of way harmony, which underscores the importance of maintaining balance, supporting others, fitting in, rather than standing out as an individual. Fulfilling your role effectively for the good of the group is success.
So it's less about me and more about we.
Precisely. Similarly, in many African cultures, success is profoundly communal. The Ubuntu philosophy, prevalent in Southern Africa, captures this beautifully. I am because we are. A truly successful person in this context isn't just someone who gets ahead personally. It's someone who actively uplifts their community, shares resources generously, fosters collective well-being, ensures everyone thrives together. Think of a village elder who skillfully mediates disputes, ensures fairness, and makes sure everyone, especially the vulnerable, is cared for. They might be seen as profoundly successful, even with little personal wealth. Their success is measured by their contribution to the whole community's health.
That's a radically different metric.
It is, and in India, you often see a fascinating blend. People might strive for individual academic or professional achievement, sure, build a successful career, but this pursuit is often underpinned by a deeper goal: supporting their family, caring for elders, contributing back to their community. This balance reflects the cultural value of dharma, or duty fulfilling your role within the larger social fabric. Individual ambition is often channeled toward collective benefit.
Okay, and what about perspectives that are maybe even more deeply connected to the land and traditions passed down through generations? How do indigenous cultures often define success in ways that feel very different from our modern industrial societies?
Indigenous cultures offer yet another distinct and powerful perspective. They frequently emphasize a profound harmony with nature and an unwavering commitment to the community, often spanning generations. For many Native American tribes, for example, success is just inextricably linked to living in balance with the environment, respecting the land, the resources, understanding that connection, and meticulously preserving cultural traditions, ancestral knowledge. It's about continuity, stewardship.
So less about accumulation, more about preservation and balance.
Yeah, exactly. A truly successful life within these cultures might involve being a keeper of ancient stories, ensuring they live on, diligently maintaining spiritual practices that have sustained the people for generations, or thoughtfully stewarding the land, ensuring its health and vitality for those yet to come. It's a very long-term, intergenerational view of success, deeply rooted in sustainability and respect. And these profound cultural differences, they highlight a crucial point for all of us, I think. Success is so far from being some universal standard. What feels deeply fulfilling and meaningful in one culture might feel entirely empty, irrelevant, or even wrong in another. By actively exploring these diverse perspectives, we can genuinely start to challenge our own ingrained assumptions, expand our horizons, and significantly broaden our understanding of what it truly means to live a successful life in all its rich and varied forms. It really puts our own definition into perspective, doesn't it?
It really does. Okay, so it's fascinating how success is shaped by culture, by psychology, but it's also constantly evolving through time, isn't it? The meaning of success hasn't stayed static. It's shifted dramatically throughout history, influenced by these huge economic, technological, social changes, almost like a chameleon adapting.
Indeed, it has. It's a dynamic concept. Let's try and trace that evolution a bit. If you go way back to ancient societies, success was often primarily about survival and status. For our earliest hunter-gatherer ancestors, success was quite literal, securing enough food and shelter to keep the tribe going, basic survival, thriving against the odds. As societies got more complex with agriculture, early cities, success became much more tied to social standing, power, influence within a hierarchy.
Like your rank mattered most.
Pretty much. In ancient Egypt, success might have meant rising to be a high priest or a trusted advisor to the pharaoh positions with huge influence and privilege. In Mesopotamia, maybe it was skillfully managing fertile lands, ensuring economic stability, or leading a successful military campaign, expanding territory, bringing back resources. These early definitions were very much linked to established social structures, power, and security.
Okay, then moving forward in time, say the Middle Ages.
During the Middle Ages, faith and duty took center stage. In Christian Europe, a successful life was predominantly about living piously, following religious rules strictly, and ultimately securing your place in heaven. A successful knight, for example, wasn't just good at fighting. He had to uphold chivalric values, honor, loyalty to his lord, courage while faithfully serving his lord, and, crucially, God. Similarly, in Islamic societies at the time, success was tied to living according to the Quran, contributing to the Ummah, the community, through scholarship, trade, good governance. The emphasis was heavily on duty, obligation to God, to your Lord, to your community, over purely personal ambition.
Then came the Renaissance, which feels like a big shift towards the individual again.
A massive shift. The Renaissance marked a turn toward humanism and individual achievement. It championed the individual's potential, intellect, creativity in a way that hadn't been seen for centuries. Success started to be strongly associated with intellectual and artistic prowess. Think of figures like Leonardo da Vinci, Michelangelo. They were celebrated not just for any wealth, but for their profound contributions to art, science, culture, pushing human boundaries. This period also saw the dawn of global exploration, expanding trade. So the scope of success broadened to include adventurous merchants, explorers like Columbus or Marco Polo, who ventured into the unknown, bringing back wealth, yes, but also invaluable knowledge. It was a time of expanding horizons, both internal and external.
And then the Industrial Revolution hits. That must have changed things drastically again.
Fundamentally, the Industrial Revolution transformed success into a much more materialistic, economically driven concept. As economies shifted rapidly from farms to factories, mass production, big cities, wealth accumulation and productivity became the key markers. The rise of capitalism celebrated entrepreneurs, industrialists, Andrew Carnegie with steel, John D. Rockefeller with oil, people who amassed unprecedented fortunes through innovation, business strategy, often relentless hard work. Success became largely synonymous with upward mobility, financial prosperity. And this era really cemented that powerful idea of the self-made individual, a narrative still hugely influential today.
But not without its downsides, right?
Absolutely. It's crucial to remember this period also created massive new inequalities, often exploiting workers in terrible conditions, long hours, low pay, and dramatically widening the gap between the rich and the poor.
Okay, bringing us closer to home. The 21st century, the digital age. How has that redefined success again? It feels like influence and visibility play a huge role now.
You're right. The digital age has redefined success yet again, putting a huge emphasis on influence and impact, often in new, virtual ways. Social media especially has introduced concepts like influence and personal branding. A successful YouTuber or Instagram influencer might be measured mainly by follower count, reach, engagement metrics. Their currency is attention, connection, maybe more than traditional wealth. At the same time, the rise of the gig economy, remote work, it's disrupted traditional career paths massively. It allows people to prioritize flexibility, autonomy, creativity in ways that weren't possible before. Technology has democratized opportunities significantly in some way.
Like anyone can potentially reach a huge audience now.
Exactly. A talented teenager in a small town can become a global sensation overnight with a viral video, bypassing old gatekeepers. Platforms like Etsy or Upwork let individuals build businesses from their living rooms, connecting globally. But the digital age brings its own unique challenges too. The constant visibility of others' curated success on social media that fuels comparisonitis, feelings of inadequacy, anxiety, that fear of missing out, FOMO. I saw a Pew Research study from last year finding something like 70% of young adults feel intense pressure to present a successful image online, even when their reality is way less glamorous. That highlights the psychological toll of this new, often performative definition of success.
Yeah, the pressure is immense. Okay, so as we navigate these complexities of the 21st century, several powerful factors are actively reshaping how we define and pursue success. It feels like it's not just about what we achieve anymore, but also about how we cope with these new realities and pressures. The goalposts are definitely shifting, aren't they?
They absolutely are, constantly. Let's start with the role of technology. We just touched on it, but on one hand, it's undeniably created these unprecedented opportunities. Platforms like YouTube let you showcase talents globally. LinkedIn connects professionals. Kickstarter funds dreams. A single viral post can launch a career. And remote work. It means success isn't tied to a specific office anymore. Huge potential.
But there's always a but.
There is. On the other hand, technology introduces new and intense pressures. The gig economy offers flexibility, sure, but often lacks stability, benefits, consistent income. That creates real precarity for many. Then there's automation, AI rapidly transforming industries, raising huge questions about what skills will even define success in the future. A World Economic Forum report predicted, I think for 2024, that something like half of all jobs will require significant reskilling by 2030. That highlights adaptability, continuous learning, those uniquely human skills, creativity, critical thinking, as absolutely crucial.
Skills machines can't easily replicate.
Exactly. And then there's the always-on nature of digital life. It can just completely erode work-life balance. The pressure of hustle culture, glorifying constant productivity, working round the clock has led to widespread, alarming levels of burnout. A Gallup study from a couple of years ago found 60% of workers felt emotionally detached from their jobs. That's a really clear, concerning sign that the relentless pursuit of success, as it's often currently defined, is taking a massive toll on well-being.
Wow, 60% detached. So technology, definitely a double-edged sword. immense opportunity, but also these new intense pressures. And this brings us to another critical modern challenge, the escalating concern around mental health. It feels like this isn't just a side effect of chasing success, it's forcing a reevaluation of what success even is.
You've hit on an absolutely crucial point there. The modern emphasis on relentless achievement, constant productivity, it has coincided with a significant and thankfully increasingly recognized mental health crisis. Burnout, for instance, isn't just slang anymore. It's officially recognized as a medical condition by the World Health Organization. That shows how serious and widespread it is. Study after study shows overwork, chronic stress, the pressure to constantly perform are leading causes of anxiety, depression, other mental health issues. And this concerning trend has sparked a really vital growing movement towards fundamentally redefining success, shifting it to include overall well-being as a core component, acknowledging that genuine, sustainable success must include robust mental, emotional, and physical health, not just external wins.
So what does that look like in practice, redefining success for well-being?
Well, you see things like the slow living movement gaining traction. It directly pushes back against that hustle culture, encouraging people to prioritize quality over mere quantity in all areas: work, relationships, personal time. Success within this framework might mean having the freedom to take a rejuvenating walk midday, or dedicating uninterrupted quality time to loved ones without your phone buzzing, embracing a pace that nourishes you rather than depletes you. Mindfulness practices too, meditation, journaling, are becoming much more mainstream, seen as practical tools for cultivating inner peace, reducing stress, and really defining success on your own terms, based on inner feelings, not just external metrics. It's about finding internal contentment and balance.
Okay, moving beyond the individual level. What about the global picture? How do things like globalization and persistent inequalities impact our evolving idea of success, especially when we consider how interconnected we all are now?
Globalization and inequality are huge factors, and they're deeply linked. Globalization has definitely opened doors for some, allowing individuals to leverage global markets for immense success, connecting them to resources and customers worldwide. But at the same time, many others face these systemic, deeply entrenched barriers. Pervasive poverty, discrimination based on race, gender, origin, severely limited access to quality education, healthcare, economic opportunities. The playing field is far from level. And this stark reality raises really profound ethical questions, doesn't it? Like, is it truly successful to climb the corporate ladder within a system that might perhaps indirectly exploit workers in developing nations, or contribute to environmental damage, or perpetuate social injustices?
That's a tough question. Are people starting to incorporate that into their definition?
Increasingly, yes, especially younger generations. Many are actively, consciously redefining success to explicitly include social impact, making it a core metric of their own achievement. You see more people choosing careers in fields like sustainability, social justice advocacy, nonprofit work, sometimes over traditionally high-paying corporate jobs. A Deloitte survey last year found something like 40% of Gen Z workers prioritize purpose and impact over pay. That's a significant shift from previous generations. It shows a growing desire for success to mean contributing positively to the wider world, tackling its problems, fostering a more equitable society.
That really does sound like a fundamental generational shift in values, putting purpose right up there with or even above profit or traditional status. And what about maybe the biggest global challenge staring us in the face of the climate crisis? How is that reshaping our concept of success, moving it beyond the purely personal to something planetary?
The escalating urgency of the climate crisis is absolutely profoundly reshaping how we think about success. It's becoming an existential consideration for many. For a rapidly growing number of people, success now explicitly includes living sustainably and actively contributing to a healthier planet for everyone, now and in the future. This shift can manifest in lots of ways. Choosing a career in renewable energy or sustainable agriculture. Consciously reducing your own carbon footprint through daily choices, diet, transport, consumption. Or actively advocating for stronger environmental policies. And you see it in global movements like Fridays for Future, led by young activists like Greta Thunberg. It reflects a broader societal shift, a move toward defining success not just in terms of individual accumulation or material gain, but in terms of collective survival, shared responsibility for our planet's future, and leaving a positive legacy. It's becoming about stewardship, not just acquisition.
It's a huge expansion of the idea. Okay, theory and trends are one thing, but to really bring this concept to life, To see it in action, let's explore some real-world stories. Individuals who've defined success on their own terms, often swimming against the current. These narratives can really illustrate the sheer diversity of what success can mean, and maybe offer some inspiration for our own journeys, show that there's no single right way.
Absolutely. Real stories fame it tangible. Let's start with Maria, the community builder. Maria is a 45-year-old teacher in a small town in Brazil. She grew up where education access was really limited. She knew that struggle firsthand. Driven by this deep desire to make a difference, she started a literacy program for local kids who couldn't afford school. Over a decade, her program helped hundreds learn to read and write. That opened doors for them, better jobs, further education, things they wouldn't have had otherwise. Now, Maria doesn't have a huge bank account or a fancy title, but she feels profoundly successful every single time a student reads their first book or lands their first job, knowing she played a part. Her story shows success as impact, as transformation within a community, not just personal gain. It's about building something bigger than herself.
That's incredibly moving. Who else?
Then there's Aisha, the entrepreneur. Aisha, she's 30, from Nigeria. She made a really bold move, left a stable corporate job to start her own tech company. Her focus, developing affordable solar energy solutions, tackling a critical need in her country. She faced a ton of skepticism from investors, huge financial challenges early on, but she persevered, driven by this powerful vision. Bring reliable electricity to underserved rural areas, improve lives, boost local economies. Today, her company powers hundreds of homes, literally lighting up villages, and she's actively training young women in tech skills, creating this ripple effect of empowerment. For Aisha, success is clearly about solving real-world problems and creating tangible opportunities, even if it meant taking massive risks.
Wow, tackling big problems head on. What about success on a quieter scale?
That brings us to James, the quiet achiever. James is a 60-year-old Canadian retiree. He spent his whole career as a librarian. Never sought fame, never sought fortune. He found his joy, his fulfillment in the everyday act of helping people discover knowledge, guiding them to the right book, exploring new worlds through reading. Now, in retirement, he volunteers at a community center, patiently teaching seniors how to use technology video calls, online banking to stay connected with family, with the world, bridging that digital divide for them. For James, success is defined by a life of quiet purpose, consistently making small but deeply meaningful differences in individual lives day in, day out. His story is a great reminder that success doesn't have to be loud or flashy. It can be found in those consistent, unassuming acts of kindness and service that genuinely enrich lives.
That's beautiful. It doesn't have to be world-changing to be deeply successful.
Not at all. Let's also look at Priya, the artist. Priya is a 25-year-old painter in India. She faced significant struggles pursuing her passion for art in a society that often pushes people towards more practical careers. Engineering, medicine, you know the drill. Despite intense family pressure to get a corporate job, she courageously followed her passion, dedicated herself to her craft, started selling her paintings online at local markets. Now, her work, which often explores cultural identity, modern life, is starting to get noticed, gaining recognition, commissions. But for Priya, success isn't just about sales figures or critical acclaim. It's fundamentally about authentic self-expression, having the freedom to create what's inside her. And maybe, just as importantly, inspiring others to bravely follow their own unique dreams, especially when they go against the grain.
Living authentically, despite the pressure, that takes real courage. One more.
Let's talk about Ahmed, the refugee turned advocate. Ahmed is 35, originally from Syria, now living in Germany. He fled his war-torn country with absolutely nothing, endured immense trauma, loss. After years of incredible hardship navigating new systems, new language, new culture, he not only learned German with amazing determination and earned a university degree, but he now works as a dedicated advocate for refugee rights, helping others who are walking the same incredibly difficult path he did. For Ahmed, success isn't just about painstakingly rebuilding his own life, creating a new home, a new identity. It's about actively helping other refugees find hope, dignity, opportunity in the face of overwhelming adversity. His extraordinary journey just powerfully shows that success can emerge from the most challenging, traumatic circumstances imaginable, rooted in incredible resilience, unwavering commitment to others, and that desire to pay it forward.
What an incredible range of stories. From community building to tech innovation, quiet service, artistic expression, advocacy born from hardship. These journeys truly reflect that kaleidoscope of success we talked about. Each person's definition is so unique, shaped by their values, their experiences, their aspirations. It unequivocally shows that success is deeply, profoundly personal. It's about finding your definition, not fitting into someone else's box.
Exactly. So, Given all these diverse, compelling perspectives we've explored, from ancient philosophy to modern psychology to these powerful personal stories, how do you, the listener, define success for yourself? This isn't just an academic question, it's really an invitation to some deep introspection. We've gathered some practical, actionable steps to help you reflect, maybe challenge your assumptions, and create a definition that truly resonates with your inner self, something that can guide your choices moving forward.
Okay, practical steps. Where do we start?
First and foremost, 1, identify your core values. You have to start here. Ask yourself, what genuinely matters most to me in my life? Is it family, creativity, financial security, adventure, continuous learning, making a tangible difference? Your core values are the absolute foundation. They're your compass for your personal definition of success. For example, if you deeply value freedom and autonomy, maybe success means having the flexibility to work on your own terms, even if it's not a traditional career. If you cherish connection, belonging, then maybe success means building exceptionally strong, supportive relationships and prioritizing the time and energy that takes above other things.
How do you figure out those core values if you're not sure?
Good question. Try this practical exercise. Write down, or just think about, 3 distinct moments in your life when you felt truly deeply fulfilled. Moments where everything just clicked. You felt aligned, purposeful. What were you doing? Who were you with? And why did those moments matter so much to you? The answers can really illuminate your most fundamental guiding values, reveal what genuinely brings you that sense of purpose and achievement.
Okay, identify values. What's next?
2, set meaningful goals. Values give you the direction, goals give you the map. Goals provide that clear direction, but for them to be truly effective, truly motivating, they must align deeply with those values you just identified. Goals that don't resonate, they often lead to burnout or that hollow feeling even if you achieve them. A useful tool here is the SMART framework. Make sure your goals are specific, well-defined, measurable, trackable, achievable, realistic but challenging, relevant, tied to your values, and time-bound with a deadline. So instead of something vague like, I want to be successful, get specific. Like, I want to save $10,000 for down payment in 2 years by saving X dollars each month. Or, I want to dedicate 1 evening a week volunteering at the local shelter for the next 6 months because community matters to me.
Make it concrete.
Exactly. And break those bigger goals down into smaller, manageable steps. That keeps the momentum going, prevents overwhelm, and crucially, celebrate the progress along the way. Even the small wins, they fuel you for the next step.
All right, values, goals. What about when things inevitably go wrong? Failure seems like the opposite of success.
That brings us to step 3. Embrace failure as growth. This is huge. Failure isn't just a possibility, it's an absolutely inevitable and often invaluable part of any journey toward meaningful success. Instead of fearing it, dreading it, viewing it as some definitive endpoint, consciously choose to view it as a learning opportunity. As data, remember Thomas Edison? I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. That's the mindset. Adopting that growth mindset we talked about earlier helps you stay resilient, adaptable, whether it's a rejected job application, a stalled project, a personal setback. When setbacks happen and they will pause, ask yourself honestly, what can I truly learn from this? What new skill or perspective can I gain? How can I approach this differently next time? This reframing turns failure from a dead end into a stepping stone, builds real resilience.
Okay, reframe failure. Number 4.
4, measure success on your terms. This is critical in today's world. Avoid that pervasive, often destructive trap of constantly comparing yourself to others. Social media makes this so hard, right? It creates the illusion that everyone else is living this perfect, effortless, highlight reel life. But remember, those snapshots are curated, carefully selected, often edited, rarely reflecting the messy reality. Focus intently on your own unique progress. Define metrics that genuinely matter to you, that reflect your values. For instance, if you're a writer, maybe success is the deep personal accomplishment of finishing the novel, pouring your heart into it, not necessarily hitting the bestseller list.
So setting your own benchmarks.
Precisely. Consider keeping a journal, maybe a wins journal. Track your own achievements, milestones, moments of growth, acts of kindness, no matter how small they seem. This practice can help you stay grounded, appreciate your unique journey, and recognize the progress you're making on your own terms, instead of living by someone else's scorecard.
I like that. Okay, step 5.
5, prioritize well-being. This cannot be overstated. Success achieved without a strong foundation of well-being is ultimately hollow. It's unsustainable. What's the point of reaching the summit if you're too exhausted or unwell to enjoy the view? Make deliberate, non-negotiable time for rest. Engage in hobbies that rejuvenate you, that fill your cup. Nurture your vital relationships, family, friends, community. There was a Harvard study a few years back showing people who consciously prioritize work-life balance report higher overall life satisfaction than those who focus solely on career achievements, even the high flyers. So actually schedule unproductive time just for relaxation, rejuvenation, enjoyment. Reading, walking, meditating, just being.
Giving yourself permission to recharge.
Exactly. Mindfulness practices like meditation or gratitude journaling can also profoundly help you stay connected to what truly matters internally, reduce stress, maintain perspective. Even just 5 minutes a day can make a tangible difference. Remember, your energy, your health, they are your most precious assets for any kind of success.
Okay, final step.
6. Stay open to change. Your personal definition of success is not set in stone. It will evolve. It should evolve over time. What feels critically important in your 20s might not matter as much, or in the same way in your 40s or 60s. Priorities shift. Be willing to periodically reassess, adjust your goals, and refine your definition of success as your life circumstances change relationships, family, career, health, interests. For instance, a young professional might initially prioritize rapid career growth. Later, as a parent, their focus might shift significantly to family, finding their deepest success there. That's natural. Make it a regular practice. Check in with yourself periodically, maybe annually, maybe after major life events, just to ensure your current definition of success still feels authentic, still deeply aligns with your current values and aspirations. This flexibility, this self-awareness, this willingness to adapt, it's key to navigating a truly fulfilling and evolving life.
Fantastic practical advice. Okay, looking ahead now. As we peer into the future, it seems clear the meaning of success will continue its fascinating evolution. The world is changing so fast. What are some key trends you see shaping how we define and pursue success in the coming years?
Well, the continued accelerating rise of technology and AI is definitely going to be a major force. It will certainly redefine what success looks like in many professional fields. As AI gets better at automating routine tasks, jobs in complex areas, healthcare, education, creative industries will increasingly demand those uniquely human skills. Adaptability, creativity, nuanced problem-solving, emotional intelligence, qualities machines can't easily replicate. Success in the future might be less about just mastering information, which AI can do, and more about mastering these human skills. Learning how to leverage technology effectively, yes, but also how to provide the value machines cannot: empathy, innovation, building genuine connection.
So working with AI, leveraging human strengths.
Exactly. And at the same time, AI and other emerging tech will create entirely new opportunities, new fields, potentially new ways to define success altogether. Virtual reality could transform learning and collaboration. Blockchain, decentralized platforms might empower individuals in novel ways, maybe disrupting traditional wealth creation. Staying deeply curious, cultivating that lifelong learning mindset, being highly adaptable, those will be absolutely key.
What about the environmental and social shifts we discussed?
Those will continue to grow in importance. The escalating climate crisis is pushing us, really forcing us, to rethink success in terms of collective survival and planetary health. For many, success will increasingly mean actively contributing to a sustainable future, whether that's through choosing green careers, adopting eco-friendly lifestyles, engaging in advocacy. Companies like Patagonia, prioritizing environmental responsibility. They're setting new benchmarks for what a successful business even looks like, moving beyond just profit.
Purpose-driven business.
Right. And similarly, social impact is becoming a much more crucial metric. Movements like Black Lives Matter, #MeToo, they've underscored the vital importance of equity, justice, prompting many to define success partly by how much they contribute to creating a fairer, more inclusive world. It signals a move towards a more altruistic, community-focused, values-driven understanding of success. Your positive ripple effect matters.
And how we work is changing too, right? The whole work-life balance equation.
Definitely. That traditional 9-to-5 office-based career model, it's steadily giving way to more flexible alternatives. We're redefining work and life. The rise of remote work, freelancing, the gig economy. It gives individuals unprecedented opportunity to prioritize lifestyle, personal well-being, maybe over rigid career paths dictated by corporations. Success in the future might increasingly involve consciously designing a life, intentionally balancing work, leisure, personal growth in a way that truly serves you and your unique needs, rather than just conforming to an outdated template.
More autonomy, potentially.
Hopefully. And alongside that, the emphasis on mental health and overall well-being will continue to grow significantly. We see companies offering more wellness programs, individuals actively seeking careers that align with their values and provide room for balance. Success may increasingly be measured by how well you live, how fulfilled and balanced you feel, not solely by how much you achieve in external, material terms. Quality of life becoming a key metric.
Finally, what about global connection?
Global connectivity will keep shaping success, linking people across borders, creating exciting new opportunities for collaboration, innovation, understanding on a worldwide scale, new markets, new ideas. But this increased connection also demands we get much better at navigating complex cultural differences, and crucially, at collectively addressing huge global challenges like inequality, climate change that require truly global cooperation. Success in this increasingly connected, interdependent world might involve building bridges between diverse cultures, fostering empathy across boundaries, and working diligently towards shared, overarching goals that benefit all of humanity, moving beyond narrow national or individualistic concerns, thinking bigger, basically.
Lots to think about there. The future of success seems complex, but maybe also more holistic, more purposeful.
It seems to be heading that way. Ultimately, success remains this deeply personal journey, doesn't it? Not some fixed destination you arrive at. It's a concept as varied, as rich as the people pursuing it, continually shaped and redefined by philosophy, psychology, culture, history, and most importantly, our own unique individual experiences.
Yeah, from Aristotle's ancient idea of flourishing by living well to those inspiring modern stories of resilience and purpose we explored. The core, the essence of success, it consistently seems to lie in aligning your actions with your deepest values and aspirations. So as you navigate your own unique path, remember that success really isn't about meeting some universal standard or external expectation set by society or anyone else. It's about meticulously crafting a life that feels genuinely meaningful and deeply fulfilling to you.
Exactly. Whether you're chasing a grand, ambitious dream that might reshape industries, or simply savoring those small, quiet moments of joy and connection that truly enrich daily life, the crucial key is to define success on your own terms. Free from that constant external comparison, free from the relentless pressure of societal norms. It's about charting your own course, finding your own North Star.
So we leave you with this final thought-provoking question, maybe the most important one from today. What does success truly mean to you? Take a quiet moment, maybe later today, maybe right now, just to reflect on it. Perhaps write down your thoughts, share them with a trusted friend, or simply sit with the question for a little while. Let it resonate.
The answer might just change the way you live.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. If you found this discussion insightful, or if it sparked some thoughts for you, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this YouTube channel. That way you'll stay tuned for more explorations. We really appreciate your engagement.